So now's the time to double down on MAGA. Build out the majority. Do not give the left an inch. And that's the angle. Joining me now, Alina Habba, counselor to President Trump. Alina, a little murmuring in MAGA land about, the comments about China today. Did MAGA vote for China to be able to buy up more American real estate or American companies, they ask?
Is that really a question? Really? That's what we're doing now? The spin? That's the spin? Yeah, no. What the president said was very simple. It's the same policy we've had across the board. When you look at reciprocal tariffs, when you look at the strong arm that President Trump has had with China, with Canada, with Mexico, we want America to be safe. We care about American people first. It's like what you just said in your monologue. I couldn't have said it better. America first.
Alina, but you can't buy... reciprocity would mean Americans can go off and buy lots of Chinese real estate,
no.
Near military bases, which I know President Trump is not in favor of.
No.
But the concern obviously is like we want to do. The deals are great, and so much of them are phenomenal. But you see where Democrats are starting to like worm their way into the populist agenda and say, whoa, 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 how is that for the American worker to bring in thousands of more foreign workers? That is what some on the MAGA side are, kind of whispering about, but nevertheless, it's out there.
Yeah, let me clarify that then, if there's any confusion. What the president was referring to was us continuing to have business relations. We do import, export. Of course we do. That is what we're talking about. Yes, we are going to be a strong nation. Yes, we are going to have peace through strength. Yes, we are going to have a stronger economy, and we are going to cut the fat through DOGE, through the president's initiatives, and what we have voted, the American people have voted for on November 5th. But that means that, yes, we're going to be tough, but we still want to make money. We still want to be producing. We still want to work with other countries. China's just another example. It's a lot like, Laura, when the president says something like, Putin is bright, or Putin, that doesn't mean he's praising him. That means that he is acknowledging the situation, what is good for America, what is America first. If you say we're not going to have Amazon, we're not going to have anything imported or exported with China, that's not realistic. That's not what he's saying. We want to do business, but it's got to be done the right way. And that is what the president was referring to. But of course, the spin is real, as you know.
Now, Alina, when I saw that cabinet meeting, I saw Trump taking questions, Elon made his point. Again, they were trying to drive a wedge between Elon Musk and President Trump. I don't know why they're still doing that. It's obviously not working at all. And I think Musk made the point perfectly. We want people who actually are alive getting paid, and people who actually have a role or a job, to stay on board. If it's an essential role, stay on board. If it's not, move on down the road. It's pretty common sense.
How about just work? Like, never mind essential role. That's easy. Are you working? Are you working? Are you double dipping? Are you working for another company? And if you cannot say that you are working, you do not have a job pretty much anywhere. And I hope that any boss runs their company the way President Trump is running this country. And what was crazy, I was in the cabinet meeting sitting right next to Elon. And I literally looked at him and laughed at one point because he was saying, we're going to evaluate. And President Trump said, now, wait a minute, Elon. Wait 1 second. Let's be very clear. There is an outer bubble, and he is not backing down. President Trump told Elon Musk in a public, again, transparency tweet, Elon, go harder. Elon, do more. Elon is assistant to the president, a special government employee who has been tasked with saving government spending where we don't need it so that we can have a budget and have a balanced budget, something we haven't had for a long time.
Now, Alina, do you think they'll get to that 230,000 employee number to cut? Will they go higher? What's your sense as things stand now?
Higher. I think that we're not.
How high?
I think there's. I don't know, but I can tell you that what we've recovered and what we've seen is so clear. We're already ahead of schedule. Elon spoke to that. Right now, if we continue at this route, we hope to have a balanced budget. We hope to fix the deficit, serious problems that have existed in this country that have not been addressed. And you have to do it quickly and swiftly. And President Trump expects us to work really hard to make sure it gets done in this administration, not in 6 years, not in 10 years.
Alina, it's always great to see you. We saw you sitting in that cabinet room. Thank you so much, as always.
Thank you.